As someone who's played Kingdom Hearts 3 a dozen times now, and the DLC, I've noted a trend of people posting summary videos of the games in the series, and they're all bad. Not that they're incorrect, it's just that they've covered all the bases that don't matter. Now, I can't blame them for this. They're trying to cover the literal darkness ball ton of stuff in this series to try to get everything explained for Kingdom Hearts 3. So I thought I'd cover only the relevant bits that KH3 doesn't really explain, but that are still important to get what the fuck is even happening. Now, this is going to be a bare bones stuff you need to know kind of thing to understand KH3 to its fullest. Before I get started though, let's cover the holy terms of the Disney weebs. A Keyblade is just a sword with special powers that the writers can make do whatever the fucking plot needs it to do. That's it. Yes, it has lore, but it's kind of forgotten after a while. In this game, it's still just as important, but boiled down to its basic elements, it's a sword about on the same level of importance as a lightsaber. Light and darkness are real, measurable things. Like midichlorians, only less dumb. I swear I don't like Star Wars or the prequels, it just makes sense to make these kind of comparisons. A Heartless is the heart of someone who fell to darkness given physical form. There are different kinds that range in power, but really that's just for game design purposes. A Nobody is the body that got left behind when said Heartless fell to darkness. Again, they can look different depending on combat and plot purposes. A Somebody is a real person, so you and me. At least I think I'm real, I've been told otherwise. Your suspension of disbelief needs to be stretched farther than Mrs. Incredible in the door stuck scene. You know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't even like women. What the hell is that joke? Oh, shit. And lastly, I'm going in order of release because it makes things much easier to get. 3 kids are on a place called Destiny Islands who are trying to build a raft to get off the island. Remember this now, it'll be used for a joke in KH3. These kids are Sora, Riku, and Kairi, but for fun I'm going to call them Good Boy, Broody Boy, and Girl. The 3 are doing fine until the islands fall under attack by Heartless. In this attack, Girl falls into a coma after she swooshes through Good Boy, remember this now, and Broody Boy gets sucked into a dark ball. Good Boy gets the Keyblade and sets off to find his 2 friends that are totally fine. Along the way, he meets Dolan and Gooby who are looking for Mickey Rat, who in turn is looking for the second Keyblade, and off you go to do that. Oh, and Maleficent has taken Broody Boy under her dragon wing to do evil things for her? It's not important. Good Boy gets to a place called Hollow Bastion where Broody Boy is taken over by a guy called Ansem, but for convenience sake I'm gonna call him Peaches. Also, I have nowhere else to fit this in, but Peaches has a bouncer that sprouts from his back that is super important near the end of KH3, so keep that in mind. Anyway, Peaches takes over Broody Boy and uses him to get the Keyblade for all of 5 seconds before Good Boy gets it back. Good Boy then beats Peaches out of Broody Boy, then Good Boy realizes the reason why he can't wake Girl up is because her heart went inside him from when she swooshed through him. So he just stabs himself to get it out. God, I love this kid. Girl wakes up, but Good Boy gets turned into a Heartless. Again, remember this, I'll swing back to this in a second. Like 5 minutes later, Girl hugs Heartless Good Boy and turns him back into a human again. Sometime later, Good Boy defeats Peaches and locks the door to Kingdom Hearts with Dolan and Gooby on his end, and Broody Boy and Mickey Rat on the other. Moving on to Chain of Memories. Yep, that's all you need to know from KH1. Pretty short game. Good Boy and Co. get to a place called Castle Oblivion where 5 dickheads from a group called Organization 13 want to make him lose his memories to take over his body. More on that in a bit. Then there's a girl named Naminé who is, and I'm not shitting you here, Good Boy's body for when he became a Heartless and Girl's heart merging to make this specific Nobody. So basically they had a baby at 13. Or she's an accidental trans representation. I don't know, I'll have to think on that later. Anyway, she's made of Good Boy's old body, so she has special powers that connect her to Good Boy. This means that she can mess with his memories to the point that he needs them reorganized to become himself again, and because of this memory restoration, he won't remember anyone or anything that happened in the castle. That being said, they stick him in a Luke Skywalker egg to do it. Oh, also a guy named Axel, a member of Organization 13, kills the other members because the 5 others are throwing a coup to overthrow the other 8, including Axel, in the organization. Broody Boy and Mickey Rat are also here, and really all that happens is that Broody Boy learns to control his darkness. There's also a clone that one of the organization members made of Broody Boy, and the reason for this is to mess with Good Boy. The clone, or replica, is basically a Ken doll that you can put a heart into, and that makes it a real person. But if you don't put a heart in it, but rather just some memories, it basically turns into a nobody. A kid named Roxas, who was Good Boy's nobody, which we'll expand on in a bit, wakes up in a place called Twilight Town, but there's two of them. See, the one Roxas is in is a copy of the real Twilight Town that is made of data. In this fake town, he has three best friends, Hater, Pants, and Omelette. One day, Axel, who is Roxas' boyfriend, no, I'm not shipping, this is super important, I swear, comes to town to kidnap him, but fails because of a man called Diz, who is really Anson the Wise. Diz was a researcher of the heart that got exiled and got his name taken by Peaches, hence the name change. Diz then kicks Roxas in the Good Boy Skywalker egg to make Good Boy whole again. Then Good Boy wakes up with Dolan and Gooby, and they basically do the same stuff as they did in the first game, only this time they kill organization members along with Disney bosses. Somewhere in the middle, we meet Xemnas, who is the leader of Organization 13. He wants to remake Kingdom Hearts because he and the rest of the nobodies want real hearts to replace the ones they lost. This is why they wanted Good Boy's body. That's the whole reason, guys. At the end, Girl and Naminé reunite, we get to see Naminé and Roxas have a cute conversation, and Good Boy just gets confused. It's great. Oh, and there's a footnote here about Maleficent and Pete fucking shit up by being in Good Boy's way, but that's not that important, they're just a red herring. Really? That's about it for KH2. Now let's go back a year to the time of 358 Days Over 2. The only thing you need to care about in this title is that there's a girl named Gion that is a replica made from Good Boy's memories of Girl. This is also the time when Roxas and Axel started dating, and over the course of this year, the three develop a friendship. And that's kinda it. Now let's go even further back by about 10 years to explain 6 characters. There really isn't a reason to explain the plot since it's split up so much, so I'll just give you character bios. Master Xehanort, a dark type, the bad guy who wants to bring about Kingdom Hearts to see what will happen, and nothing else. To do this, he wants to make a weapon called the Keyblade, with an X, that being a weapon of ultimate power that can be forged when equal forces of light and darkness clash. At the end, he takes over Terra's body and makes him look like Xemnas. Master Ericus, a pure light type. A good Keyblade master that is the same aversion to darkness that Bible thumpers do to gay people. Terra, a Dawn type. A sturdy Keyblade wielder that has an affinity for darkness. He is tricked by the bad guy into doing bad things, as well as weakening Master Ericus so that Xehanort can kill him. Ventus, a cinnamon roll type. A boy of pure light with a broken heart that Good Boy fixes as a baby. This is why Roxas looks different from Good Boy. Aqua, a magic type. A monotone person who has to clean up after Terra and Ventus. She gets sent to the realm of darkness for being a good person. Vanitas, an edgy type. The darkness in Ven's heart that came into being when Ven got his heart broken in a fight. And he looks like Good Boy because of parallels. He makes things called unversed that are physical manifestations of negative emotions, or as I like to call them, discount heartless. All you need to know about Coded is that Maleficent and Peach are looking for a thing called the Book of Prophecies, and that the term Datascape means a world made of data. Good Boy and Broody Boy take a test that will tell if they can become true Keyblade Masters. Broody Boy passes, Good Boy fails. Also, now the bad guys can time travel, and this is basically why everything that has happened thus far took place. This is kind of important to explain who this hunk of Twinkie is, that being young Xehanort, and really how we can have all 13 members of the organization back, plus some surprise faces, wink wink. At the start of the test, Mr. Sexy Twink comes to taunt Good Boy at Notre Dame Cathedral, and Good Boy sees a vision of Vanitas. This will be addressed in Kingdom Hearts 3 about halfway in. And at the end, Axel becomes a somebody again and gets a Keyblade. So he, and Girl, go to train in a world outside of time with the wizard from Sword in the Stone, Merlin. There's only like 8 characters in this, so strap in. A long time ago, 5 people who were the leaders of different Keyblade factions all fight over information that Book of Prophecies Maleficent is looking for contains. Thus, this breaks the factions apart and starts a war. One of those leaders, Ava, is told to collect the strongest wielders from each group and make a new group called the Dandelions. Also, she has a conversation with this kid, and if you don't know him, KH3 gives you no context. This kid, Ephemer, is your Keyblade wielder avatar at the start of Union Cross, the mobile game this movie is summarizing. Anyway, there's also a guy called Luciu, and he gets Xehanort's Keyblade with the eye in it from his master, the Master of Masters. And this guy is just bae. Love him to death, great. Luciu is given said Keyblade and a black box that is important in a game that is not called Kingdom Hearts 3. Although Maleficent and Pete think that the Book of Prophecies they are looking for is in that box, also there's a thing named Charity who knows Ven from Birth by Sleep, and this is important for the end of the game, cause it didn't make sense to me until someone explained it, so I'm just saving you guys the confusion so you can get the proper feels. A footnote to point out here is that 4 of the bad guys in the organization, those being Larxene, Marluxia, Luxord, and Demyx, are also from the time from before and during the Keyblade War this movie is talking about. That's about all you need to know about that to understand what the game brings up. So we're moving on. Remember Aqua? Well, she got sent to the realm of darkness and has been stuck there for a decade, but really to her it's been about a month, hence why she looks the same. She runs into Mickey Rat and he has her help in the end of KH1. Then Yen Sid, the wizard from Fantasia and the Good Boy's resident leader, sends Mickey Rat and Broody Boy to find Aqua. Following that, he sends Good Boy off to Olympus. Just Olympus. No Coliseum in this game for some reason, to start off his journey with a helping dose of Awkward Ginger Boy. Also, there's a phrase that Yen Sid says a lot apparently that would be made apparent for a joke in the game. It was retconned in since Yen Sid never said this phrase, but Donald says that he says it a lot, but it's whatever. Okay, here are a couple of things that are implied by KH3, but that are a little vague in their execution, so here you go. Hercules, and to that end, Olympus have been in 3 different titles before this one, those being KH1, KH2, and Birth by Sleep. So yes, Good Boy and Co. know Herc, Meg, Phil, and Hades and have an established rapport with those characters. That's why their interactions are a little bit more natural and less introduction-based. Axel and Syax, you know, the guy with the X on his face, were friends when they were human and have slowly drifted apart since they were in the organization. Axel became friends with Ven in Birth by Sleep for like an hour. The Good Boy gang had gone to the Pirates of the Caribbean before, and that's why they know Will, Elizabeth, Jack, and Barbossa. In KH2, when you go to Pirates, Luxord calls Parlay and outwits Jack. Remember this for a joke near the end of Pirates in KH3. At the end of Birth by Sleep, Aqua turns the land of departure, her homeworld, into Castle Oblivion. Remember that place? Yeah, that's the place. Near the end of the game, there's a reference to Dream Drop Distance with them doing this ability, but in a cutscene, and it's so cool! What this is basically showing that Good Boy and Broody Boy have a bond that crosses dimensions. Since Terra got taken over by Xehanort, he has Anson's back bouncer as well, since he is the somebody of Ansem and Xemnas. At the start of KH1, Good Boy pulls a cheese and it's cute and it's referenced in the Monsters Inc. world. Roxas can dual-wield Keyblades, specifically the Oathkeeper and Oblivion. The only real significance these have is that they were given to you in Kingdom Hearts 1 when you, as Good Boy, reunite with Broody Boy and Girl respectively. Just a heads up on that. There's a secret super boss in KH2 called Lingering Will that is really just Terra from Birth by Sleep's soul put into some armor. He pops up in a cutscene, so just be aware. And that's literally all you need to know to understand as much as I can remember about Kingdom Hearts 3. Is there more to the story? Yes. Is there a way I could have gone more in depth and detail about this stuff? Also yes. But this was just for newcomers to understand the stuff that is brought up in KH3, because sometimes the game just does stuff that you'll only get if you've played the past games. And if you're an old timer looking into this for the fun and the length, then I hope you had fun with me making jokes about the whole thing. I just need to say this, even with this info, you need to pay attention to what the game tells you, because I just gave you the bare basics. This is just for those little moments to make sense, like character interactions and things like that between reoccurring characters that is more fleshed out and not so what the fucky. I hope this helps new and old comers alike. As always, my name is Chris, happy gaming, remember to use your ThinkBoxes, and of course, may your hearts be your guiding keys.